All right, all right.
All right. So, yeah, looks like, yeah, we're live on YouTube and we are also live on Twitch. So, welcome to Talkin Tech with Jake and Tim, episode 1. So yeah, pretty much we're just gonna talk about tech stuff. So yeah, I'll roll the intro now. Okay, so jumping right into it first, Radio Shack. They're back. Radio Shack is being bought. They just got bought by a company, by a retail e-commerce venture, a startup founded in 2019.
This is like somebody who's like 110 years old, who like just beat lung cancer, and they just got out of the hospital, and they immediately got diagnosed with brain cancer. Like it's what's the point at this time? Like, why are you still around, Radio Shack?
Yeah.
Like, your time has passed.
So they were founded in 1921. So
yeah.
That's like almost that's almost 100 years now.
Maybe that was the goal. They were gonna have like 100-year sale, and then they were just gonna leave.
Yeah.
You know what? If that's what you're gonna do, fine. I think whatever investment company bought you to pour that much money into it, that's a bad move. But they filed for bankruptcy twice in the last 5 years.
Yep.
Why are they still around? I mean, Amazon has taken their place in every conceivable, and if it's not Amazon, then it's Newegg. Like, it's like,
yeah.
They don't have a market share anymore, because anything I could get at Radio Shack, I could get online for probably a better price.
Yep.
They're
probably
being around. I went into Radio Shack once, and
I used to go a decent amount, because like if you didn't want to wait for Amazon to come and deliver something like the next day, then you could just run down to Radio Shack, which was like 10 or 15 minutes from my house, and then just pick whatever up.
I went to Radio Shack once, and I was so little that I don't even remember it.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember one time I was with my dad, and he was like, "We went to Radio Shack once, and we had horrible customer service," and like that was it. that was the notes. I was there, and it was bad customer service.
Yep.
That's now my opinions on Radio Shack. They don't have a place here anymore.
Yep.
All right, now to some cooler news. Well, cooler. Huge disclaimer here. Cooler meaning more relevant in any particular way. YouTube is gonna start running ads on certain creator videos, but won't give them any of the AdSense. So why? Like, YouTube has gotten so big to the point where they realize the threat of a competitor, a competitor program, a competitor website getting so big to the point where they're gonna actually threaten them is kind of a fallacy. They're so big that there isn't really any website out there who has enough of a creator base that's gonna challenge them.
Yeah.
The closest they got is Twitch, probably, but even Twitch is not like that's not.
Yeah, they're
it's
not
different.
not
It's
close
streaming.
To this. Yeah.
Versus actual content, like you know.
I don't know.
Production.
Float plane is growing pretty quickly.
Yeah. Last time I checked, Floatplane was not actually doing so.
Yeah, I know.
So, this is bad. This doesn't help your creators, which was the whole point of your website. But I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do about it. Like, because like I said, I mean, what are they gonna do? Threaten to not make content, okay, fine. People just go watch other stuff on YouTube. Like, it's not.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so if you're a YouTuber and you're watching this, you're definitely not. But if you were, Jake, this is to you. If you're gonna try and run this as a business, it's no longer. I mean, it hasn't been viable for the last 3 years, but it's really no longer viable to just say YouTube and their included ads are gonna
Oh, yeah.
support me.
no,
You gotta go outside. You gotta
Yeah,
start getting external
sponsors.
sponsorships.
Yeah.
It's not viable. And
Oh,
so
you know
if
what
that's-
else? You know
if
what else
that's
creators
true,
do?
Then I
They
don't
they sell merch.
They sell
ttpmerch.com.
and
Yeah.
they plug it incessantly, and all their fans skip the 5-second clip of that because they don't care. I don't know. It's the news did not go over well with members of the YouTube community, the creator community. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is quoting from The Verge. The creator community relationship with YouTube over advertising revenue has been fraught for years. In late 2016, early 2017, YouTuber creators who were in the partner program were hit by a sudden drop in advertising revenue as the platform struggled to contain disturbing children's videos and other harmful content. This is the issue with a website like YouTube getting too big, is now they can't have any real human conscious checks on the videos, and so now it's all by algorithm. And the danger is when it gets by algorithm, there's no way to decipher satire and comedy and parody, and so all that stuff gets thrown in with truly with content that truly shouldn't be advertised.
Yeah.
And that's not, that's not really sustainable for those creators, and as much as I would love to say it's not sustainable for YouTube, it is.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
The Logan Paul incident led to changes in the partner program and more difficulty for creators to start earning revenue. So one thing that I don't quite understand is this happened before. It was the YouTube creators have called it, they call it the adpocalypse, and it comes around like once every 2 years or something. And it just basically the algorithm gets super selective about what videos they monetize. YouTubers can't make money. The community goes into uproar. YouTube reels it back, and then it cycles. Like, it just
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
and it. I don't know what the solution is, and I don't even know if this needs a solution. Like, obviously, it's not
Yeah.
right, but I don't know what you would do.
Yeah, you can't really. Yeah, it's kind of like the stock market. Every like certain
Yeah.
amount of years, you have a recession.
Yeah.
And that's just how
And
it is.
you can mediate that. You can try and do essentially damage control, but it's in one way or another, it's gonna happen eventually. And so
Yeah.
like I don't know what to do. Are you surprised that I don't know what to do? I don't even make content for YouTube.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that anymore since I have reached my 1,000 subscriber mark and 4,000 total watch hours over the past 12 months.
All right. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
You got anything else on this before we move on to the next story?
No.
If you think we're going through these quick, don't worry. The last two,
Yeah,
I got
gonna
some stuff.
take. Yeah. No, I don't have a lot on this. I mean, I find it a little weird that they're gonna be putting ads but not giving the money to the creators. It just seems a bit weird.
Yeah.
And I think what they should do is maybe make the default option like, yes, you can do this, but make it so that users like that upload videos can select, no, I do not want ads running on this video, or something like that.
See, that sounds like a great idea until you realize, as soon as everybody realizes that's a setting, they're going to click that. Because either they're going to want ads and want the AdSense, or they're going to want no ads to make their viewers like them. Like, there's no... To me, this comes down to corporate greed. I mean, it was... Linus from LTT said it best when he was talking about the new AMD launch. He basically... Well, if we have time, we'll get into this later. But he basically said, It's fine to be passionate and have allegiance to a product. It's fine to love a product and endorse it wholeheartedly and recommend it to everybody. But he's like, never feel an allegiance to a company because they will abuse that to make more money off you. And that's how I feel with YouTube. I love the content that creators make off YouTube, but I'll follow those creators where they go, because
Yeah.
YouTube itself I
So,
could care less
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have to be really careful, because YouTube is starting to realize that too many people are falling into that trap, and this is what happens is now they realize they can make money because, like I said before, where else will they go? Like, that's how they feel trapped in it almost, because it's
Yeah.
so big.
Well, yeah, and that's why LTT decided to make float plane so they would
Yeah.
have a backup just in case.
They made float plane.
Plane.
They make almost all their money from external sponsorships. Like, they
Yeah.
are the business side of it. They got on lock because they realize it's not sustainable.
Yeah. One thing that I do wonder about the YouTube ad revenue, so like Marquez Brownlee, he doesn't do a ton of sponsorships. So where does he, like, if YouTube ad revenue doesn't bring in like a ton of money, but he seems to have like all of these like amazing like 8K cameras and stuff like that, and like the new Mac Pro. So I do wonder where, like, if his videos, since they're tech ones, get like more ad revenue or something
Likely.
like that.
So LTT, as far as tech channels go, they are on the edgier side. Calling LTT edgy is questionable at best already. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not anywhere near the line. But if they're in the safe zone, then Marquez is like wholeheartedly
Ultra
endorsed by
safe-
YouTube.
ultra
Like,
safe
yeah, like
zone.
he's very, very informative, but he could never be misconstrued as being offensive to anybody like this. So he would be very safe in the ad rep. So I'm sure he's making full AdSense on all his videos. You're right. He's got a lot of really, really nice stuff, and you're right. He doesn't do a whole lot of sponsorships. The other thing is, I guess the LTT conglomerate probably has more subscribers in total, but his single channel is bigger,
most of
so
the but
he
most
can
of the
pull-
subscribers
are duplicates.
Are
yeah.
duplicates.
But here's where I'm going with this is essentially if I'm a YouTube channel and I have 5 million subscribers and I go to a sponsor and I say, I want you to sponsor me, give me $20,000 to make a video, and they said okay, and then I hear that my friend who has 10 million subscribers goes to them and say, all right, sponsor me to do a video, how much are you going to pay me? And they say, all right, we'll pay you 60,000. That makes sense because there's double the fan base over there.
Yeah.
There's double the exposure they're getting. And as a single channel, Marquez Brownlee has more subs, so he might have more bartering power. But I have to think that if you're LTT and you're going to the table, you're going to just add them up to make it look better.
Yeah.
And, maybe the other guys will call you out on that, and that's totally fair on both sides. I mean, that's smart marketing and on both sides, realizing how you can make your numbers look better and realizing when somebody's trying to overinflate. I mean, that's just how business works. But if I were LTT, I would do that. I would say, I got 1 million on TechWiki, I got 1 million on TechLinked, I got 2 million on whatever other channel, super fun.
And 100,000 on Carpool Critics.
100,000 on Carpool Critics and 10 point something million on LTT, and so altogether,
No.
like
That's
15?
like over 12 million on LTT.
All right, then I have what, like 16, 17 mil.
Quick
so I
math.
go to a company and say I did not even add that. I'm probably off, but if I'm off, hopefully somebody in chat will yell at me for it because I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how I would do it. Is I would try to pull more bartering power. Essentially, that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
All right. In other news, Twitter is now Instagram. So Twitter recently added things called fleets, which are stories essentially from
Yeah.
Instagram. Which, if I'm correct, Instagram stole from Snapchat.
From Snapchat, yeah.
Yep. So.
Oh wait. Yeah. I think it
I
was.
think Snapchat was first.
Yeah.
then
Snapchat was
Instagram
first for like
stole it.
everything, and then Instagram stole like everything
And now
from them
Twitter
and
stole it.
TikTok, and then now.
What is Twitter?
Yeah, when is
I don't
Twitter
get
gonna
it.
turn to TikTok as well?
Well, that's what I feel like Facebook happened. Like, Facebook was really popular, and then it started getting this like stigma of having like an older user base.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
we
yeah.
got to make it hip and cool, and so they
Yeah.
started, Facebook gaming and Facebook streaming, and like they branched
And
out
Mixer.
more. And now then Mixer closed.
And then they shut down.
And now they're like, in my mind, they're just like this sad abomination of Mark Zuckerberg just desperately trying to get people's data.
Yeah.
I will say, Facebook, the Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
for bang for your buck. I mean, it's what, like 300, $400 all in. You don't even need a computer, and it's already one
Yeah.
of the best VR headsets.
And you
out
can
there.
connect it to your computer still if you have one.
Yeah, so it's got loads of connectivity. It's also a standalone device. It's really good as far as VR headsets go, and it's got a relatively low barrier of entry.
Yeah.
Very compelling.
And a lot of the games, I think in LTT's video, they said a lot of the games that you buy for the Quest that are like for the standalone version, you also get the PC version as well, like they're cross.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
I think that's pretty standard though.
That is
I don't
standard?
think
Alright.
I
Yeah, I
think,
wasn't sure.
I think. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I'm not a huge.
Nope,
VR
you've
guy.
been quoted on that.
VR is super neat. Big fan. I was talking with somebody recently, and they brought up how they were surprised that VR hadn't moved into the, like during COVID, they were
Yeah.
surprised that the virtual fans in like sports arenas, they're surprised that there wasn't basically a VR option. So if I had a VR headset, and they could have, 3 standard camera angles that everybody can look at, but basically it's a live stream with my VR headset on, and I'm on the sidelines of a football game looking left
They've
and right,
been
'cause
doing
would
that
be-
for. They did
Oh, they
that.
have?
They do that for at least they used to for NBA games, and I think this year they started doing it for maybe MLB games, or is that MLB started doing like 4K, maybe even HDR content as well.
Because I mean, I see that as a pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried it. I tried some of it out when they did the NBA ones, and it was really cool. You could be like right on the sideline, like looking, or you could be at the top of the hoop looking down.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely. I think they should have definitely done more.
I think they should have expanded it.
With
is
with
my
that
point.
during COVID.
And that combined with, I mean, how relatively cheap VR headsets have gotten, it's compelling. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, back to the story. I mean, I don't really have much to say about this. Twitter introduced a feature that probably nobody who's using Twitter will actually use.
Yep.
I mean, that's about it.
So yeah, it looks like you can type stuff, add pictures, videos. You can do videos up to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So are we gonna get like fleet videos soon that are like Instagram TV videos or something?
They're starting
At
their
some point.
trials in Brazil.
Wait, what?
Why? Twitter is testing its own version of Stories. The company announced today it will be using a trial.
Oh, this was sorry.
Begin
This is from like
trial.
March 4th.
So that was like the announcement, and now it's going public. to
Yeah, now
everybody,
it's public
essentially?
and yeah, in the US.
Okay.
This was just like stuff about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, if you
Now on to
guys
the-
want
okay.
links to any of these articles, they will be linked down in the description, so you guys can check any of these out if you want any more information.
Now on to the good stuff. Do you want to cover hot topic Apple or hot topic AMD?
I'm good with either.
I
Yeah,
got a
I'm
lot
good,
to say
I'm good.
about both. So
Okay.
it's up to you.
Let's go GPUs, I guess.
I really wish you'd gone with Apple because I could have made fun of you for being an Apple shill. All right,
Okay.
GPUs.
I want to end off with Apple and on a good note.
All right. Oh, okay. So you still are. All right, GPUs. AMD's cards have been released. They've been benchmarked, and it looks like they're pretty good.
Yeah,
I was hoping for more. So here's kind of what I equate it to. This is like AMD's Zen 3 launch. So not the most recent CPU launch, but the one before that. Their actual product was pretty good. Their 3950X was competitive. It really was.
Yeah.
But it just, because it was the first time AMD had been truly competitive in a while,
Yeah.
their product was, I don't want to say half-baked, because it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Just,
it was like
it
almost
wasn't-
still in beta, but like wasn't.
it wasn't as fully developed, I would say. NVIDIA and Intel at the time, for generations, they've been preparing this stuff, and it's supported on loads of different softwares, and loads of different applications support it very well. It's actual hardware. NVIDIA's tensor cores, and Intel's been tuning their single-threaded performance for a long time. Those have had more time to develop and be supported, and that really benefits a product. And in benchmarking numbers, that'll make it look it'll make it look a lot better.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's kind of what happened to AMD here. Their product is good. The two places, I'd say there's three things of note that killed AMD.
Yeah.
One, their ray tracing, their real-time ray tracing cores are
sure.
not ready.
Yeah, definitely.
They're there.
They just sort of rushed it because they wanted to get it out to compete with
I don't think
NVIDIA.
they even rushed it. So this comes back to the idea of them essentially being half-baked. I don't think they even really rushed it. I think it's just it hasn't had time to mature the way that NVIDIA's RTX cores have, or whatever they call them. So it's a noticeably worse experience from what I've seen than NVIDIA's. Second, their virtual upscaling, NVIDIA has DLSS. I think it's called Super Res.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's there, and it's fine-ish, but it's not mature because they couldn't get it out on the same time frame that the 20 series cards were from NVIDIA. So NVIDIA's had almost a year and a half to let this stuff evolve and let it mature, and now they pair it with their new Ampere technology and increased compute cores and increased VRAM. And it's just a monster card. I mean, we saw the launch; it was incredible. And AMD has got the hardware to do it. Their cards, on hardware wise, are very competitive, but the software and the support just hasn't had that same amount of time to mature because it's so new on AMD.
Yeah.
And the last thing, something that I think they misrepresented, but I'm not angry at because I know every other major tech company would have done it, especially Apple, is their what do they call it? Unified memory access? Or,
yeah. So the RAM
access.
instead of being capped at like 256 megabytes like per packet or whatever,
per chunk essentially.
Yeah.
So it can only communicate in 256 gigabyte chunks.
Now it has
chunks, I think.
I think it's megabyte
or
megabyte chunks. But now it has access to like all of it like all the time.
So that was super compelling. That was super cool technology. They kind of.
It definitely helped improve in some of the benchmarks that I saw. It definitely improved.
It did. No.
But it didn't improve by a huge margin.
Not even that. I think it did improve it by quite a bit. Here's the thing. I don't know if you've seen this. Basically, NVIDIA came out immediately after and were like, "Yeah, this is new technology." It's not proprietary to them, and they didn't exactly develop it. This is the way the way the industry is gonna go. This is gonna be implemented.
I think Intel said they were releasing.
Intel said they were doing something.
NVIDIA
said
like
it was
really
coming.
Soon. Yeah,
it's just the way the industry is moving. So it's not like AMD came up with this fancy new technology. Real-time
but
ray
it was
tracing
still a good
last
marketing
year.
strategy. I think,
Oh, it totally was. And so then AMD came out and was like, "Yeah, but we are the first ones to do it, and look, our software is supported for this, and it is making a difference, and it is improving, and we're the guys who did it." So, I think I think AMD deserves some praise for that. They were the first ones to do it, and as far as we can
by
tell,
like 2 weeks, but yeah.
Well, no, Intel hasn't released their stuff, and NVIDIA hasn't.
No, because Apple.
I don't think NVIDIA's getting
Apple
even close.
did the same thing like a week or two later. They were the first in the PC market.
You're right. They did something very similar immediately after. The use cases are like on separate planets.
Yeah, that's true.
Because one is high-end PC workstation technology, and the other is a thin and light MacBook. So you're right. Technically, it's the same. Technology, completely different use cases.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give AMD their own. Own praise, and Apple can go over there for their thin and light praise. But yeah, basically AMD came out later and was like, "Yeah, we kind of knew that was true, but hey, it looked pretty good at the launch, didn't it?"
Yeah, but we're sold out of all of our cards now, so it worked.
Tech, why can't you just why can't you just think about it? So like. AMD, but when Nvidia launched their cards, AMD had roughly about a month, little less than a month, but it was close enough to it where I'm gonna call it a month.
Plus, plenty of time.
We're gonna do a little bit of rounding. If you see that, you're either saying, all right, we're gonna postpone this a week and just amass stock, or you're saying I'm gonna phone up my why can't I think of the word, factories? Thank you. I'm gonna phone up my factories and say, look, you guys got to work overtime. We'll pay you extra. We'll we'll hire more workers. What do you
just
need?
can't
But
do
we
the
gotta
same
build
thing.
up stock.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but right now Apple is the only one who hasn't had a bottleneck in their production line.
Yeah. Pretty much.
In fairness,
because what they did was they did delay their stuff. Like they delayed the 12 Pro Max and the 12 Mini by like a week or two. So that way they did have them like in stock.
So in fairness, they did delay, and also it's a completed product versus a piece of a product. I don't know if the manufacturer lines look different, but I'm almost 100% sure they are, and I don't know who that would benefit. But based off the way it looks, I'm gonna guess it benefited Apple in one way or another.
Yeah.
I guess there's pros and cons to it, but the fact, Apple. I'm not gonna even give Apple praise for this because I expect when you release a product that you're able to expect the demand you're gonna get and supply that. I don't think that's unreasonable. If I'm gonna announce, say I open up a lemonade stand, right, and I say, hey, come get your lemonade. I got some nice lemonade, and everybody comes over and they're like, awesome, I want some lemonade. It's a hot day out. This is great.
And you're like, come back in a couple
I serve the
weeks.
first 8% of my customers. Say I got 10 people there, and I serve one, and then I say, sorry guys, we're all out. You got to come back in a week, and I'll have more. If I'm somebody looking for lemonade, I'm just gonna say, what? I'm just gonna go to Shaw's. Like, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And granted, the actual timing, if you were to scale it back to a lemonade stand, would be more like come back in
an hour. Yeah.
But still, if I'm
if you're gonna be someone that's
says,
walking by, you're not gonna walk back.
I desperately need this hydration. I'm not gonna say, all right, I'm gonna sit here for an hour. I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna go get water. Like, I'm gonna go get what's the alternative here.
Yeah.
I'll take the extra step just to get something I need.
And then they'll go buy their water for like 3 or 4 times the price on eBay.
Yeah, so Nvidia should have capitalized on that. Said, hey, we got our next round. It's 10%. No, they should not have done that. They didn't do it. But if they had, I would have been mad at them. So, but they could have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
Whether I would have liked it or not, they could have gotten away with it.
Yeah. I still find it crazy that people like would stay in parking lots overnight at like what was it at like Micro Center and Micro Center and like to buy the cards.
Yeah, I'm with you, but where you see it, there's 2 places that immediately jump to mind when I think about people like camping out overnight.
Yeah.
Like high fashion, Gucci, Supreme, like nice sneaker shops.
Yeah.
I've seen it before, and that's not uncommon when they're dropping something new to people waiting. And I don't understand that at all.
Yeah,
Can
same.
you tell? I'm wearing a gray sweatshirt. Can you tell that I don't care about fashion? And the only other thing
did
I
you
can
say
think about
fashion?
is
Fashion? TTPmerch.com. New merch coming in early December.
Jake, you're gonna love this, but the only other time I can think of
is for iPhones.
Yep. People are
Yep.
desperate to get their iPhones.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are the only 2 times I can think about people waiting out around the blocks. But I mean, hey, I'm glad that people care this much about PC hardware. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to see that.
Was about it that I had to talk about for the GPUs, I believe. Oh yeah.
Wait, have you decided? Yeah.
So here's the update on my own personal rig. I've got a couple things in. I got my case in. You can't see it. My motherboard's out of frame. My motherboard's in. I ordered an AIO. I'm gonna pick up a PSU soon. So it's coming together. And I was originally gonna do a blue and gold theme. My motherboard's gold, and my current PC is blue, and I like the way that looks. And then I was like, "Ooh, I'm getting an AMD card. We gotta go Team Red." So I was gonna go black and red. Would have been sick.
You would have had to get an Asus board then.
I'm not gonna pay another I already done $300 in my motherboard. I'm not gonna go pay another $400 for an Asus board because yeah, Asus is like that. The pricing is insane.
No, because it's like, yeah, but it's red and black, so it matches the theme.
Whatever. And then this stuff came out. We're basically like, yeah, AMD stuff is good,
Yeah,
but
not as.
Nvidia is still got the advantage in ways that are practical to me. So I'm probably gonna go Nvidia this round, and we're back to the blue and gold theme that I was originally gonna go with. So
Oh, yeah.
that's the update on my rig.
Yes. Update on my rig, desk PC part 4 video coming out soon, hopefully next
Dude,
weekend-ish.
this video series has been going on for so long that you've probably had to clean your desk PC in between when it started and when
I
it's
have many times.
like. So I'm planning on doing custom water cooling on mine, and the only thing that's stopping me from doing it is like I rarely clean my PC now, and for those of you who don't know, custom water cooling, you
Yeah,
gotta keep it
a
clean
lot of maintenance
because
there.
it's you got to flush your loop. They say once a month. I'll probably do it once every 3 months. And
Yeah.
I'll probably be fine because I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go push my CPU to the max. Like I'm not doing anything super super heavy, so I'll probably be fine. But it's kind of a lot of upkeep, and also it's gonna cost me like another $600 just for cooling.
Yeah,
I take that back. Make that like 700.
yeah.
Because
it's
the way
pretty
I'm
expensive.
gonna build it. I'm gonna build my PC, run it, use it a little bit, and then I'm gonna go custom water cooling. So I had to buy a separate AIO.
I mean, you could have just gone with depending on how long, you could return the AIO and just do like a cheap fan cooler for like a little bit of
Here's
time.
the thing: is that this I got an AIO from I think it's Cooler Master.
Oh,
so like
yeah.
it's not a. I got it like $30 off, so that's why I picked it up because it was like $50 and it was like started at 80 or something, and it was like worth it.
Oh, okay. That's actually not that
yeah.
bad. That's
And
pretty
so
good.
basically, I was looking at stuff because I mean I'm looking at getting the 5900X, so not the 5950, which is like the highest end consumer grade non-Threadripper from AMD, but it's a 12 core 24 thread CPU. Like it's not
Yeah.
light. And yeah, their thermals are mostly under control, but I would feel more comfortable going with something better than a stock cooler. And by
Yeah.
the time you're looking at that,
I mean, their stock coolers are pretty good, but yeah,
their
I
stock coolers
definitely
are pretty
agree.
good. I'm running one right now, actually. And
Yeah.
it's doing fine. But to be fair, I'm running a Ryzen 3 2200G, so completely different CPU.
Yeah.
Doesn't really put off the same amount of thermals. But anyway, basically by the time I was looking at getting some sort of second auxiliary cooling, it was either going to be Noctua air cooler, because Noctua's got great performance, great thermals,
And silent.
great decibel level, and pretty competitive price,
Yeah.
or an AIO. And this AIO happened to be $30 off. And I said, you know what? That's now like $20 cheaper than the Noctua I was looking at. I'll just get it. It's fine. And so I did. It's not going to be my long-term cooling. Otherwise, I would have done something a little... I mean, this is a 120 mil single fan AIO, so it's a really, really light AIO. I wouldn't do this if I was going to if I was going to stress my CPU right off the bat. I would say get something better for thermals. If I
Well, we're
wasn't
gonna have to run
planning-
benchmarks.
If I wasn't planning on doing custom water cooling, I would have gone with at least a dual fan one. At least a dual fan.
You could probably
AIO,
fit a
probably a triple.
360 in your
You can
case.
definitely fit a 360. I would go with at least a 240 though.
Yeah.
At least, but you can fit. Technically, I could fit three 360 mil thick radiators in this case.
Oh yeah, you should say what
So-
case you got.
Oh, I got the Lianli PCO Dynamic XL ROG.
Oh yeah.
It's got 10 120 mil fan mounts. Lian Li partnered with Der Bauer on this. For those of you who don't know, Der Bauer, a wonderfully German name. I think he holds several world records for max overclocks. He's like a guy who like does insane overclocking on CPUs. He does like liquid nitrogen, sub-zero, like water chiller, ice bath. Like he does like crazy stuff. And basically he partnered with Lian Li to make a consumer grade PC case that had like incredible airflow, and they came out with the PCO11 Dynamic. Then later they came out with the PCO11, I think it was called Max Air or like Airflow, and funnily enough, Tech Jesus.
Yes,
Yeah,
Steve
at Gamers
from-
Nexus,
from
also known
Gamers
as
Nexus.
Tech Jesus, who's very
Yes.
well known for doing his case reviews, found that the PCO11 airflow actually had worse thermals than the dynamic. It actually restricted airflow more, but it actually got better if you took off a mesh dust cover.
Yeah.
So that was the reason. And then they came out with the XL, which is just the bigger version. It's compatible with more water cooling stuff. It's got a little bit of RGB on it. And to me, it was a little bit more, but it was more of a well-rounded product.
Yeah.
It was just like many things. It was a sort of a second edition as opposed to an entirely new case. And so it had a little more time to sort of mature, and people figured out what they wanted to do with it. And another reason I went with this was by the time I picked a case, I was already thinking I was going to do custom water cooling, and the PCO11 Dynamic has some sick water distribution blocks.
Yeah.
Essentially a built-in reservoir. And they look absolutely incredible, and I'm looking at getting one from EK.
Do you know what else looks absolutely incredible?
If you plug LTT, that's like the third plug, and we're only half an hour in.
No. Oh yeah, we are.
Chill.
TTPmerch.com. Our sales are low.
Pace yourself. Yeah. So that's.
Yeah, so it's a good case.
It's an awesome case. I caught it on sale. Otherwise, I might not have gotten it because it is a pretty penny for a consumer case.
Yeah.
It's like.
But you can fit a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, it's insane. So, I say it's $200. Really, it's gonna cost me closer to $300 because by the time I fit it with 10 ARGB fans, 10.
Yeah.
It's gonna be quite a bit. So, yeah, it's awesome, but it's if you're planning on building your first PC and you're like, it sounds like a neat case.
No.
Go with I have an H510
NZXT.
Which one is it?
NZXT H500i.
I think it's the H500i because the H510
Yeah.
is the one with the glass front panel, right? I don't have.
Well, the H510 is like the ITX case, I'm pretty sure. So that's the H500i.
Yeah, I have the ATX one.
Yeah, the H500
with an ITX board because it was cheaper. H500i by NZXT. It's like
one of the best
$120
case,
on sale. It's just super easy to build in. Looks great. Super nice form factor. It's planned out. NZXT makes some great stuff.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it
Agreed.
for like a first case. It's great.
Yeah.
And then once you're like, hey, I kind of like this, then you can spend like $300 on PC case. I take it back. It's $300 with fan. This water distribution block is like $350, so it's really close to like $700.
Yeah. Well, I would still consider that within the water cooling.
Oh yeah. I mean, think
Not
about
the
your desk
case.
PC. If you were
Not
doing
the
custom
case.
water cooling on your desk PC, it easily would have been $700 for the desk plus water cooling. So.
Oh no, the desk was already like $700 or $800.
Yeah. So.
Which is-
compared to
yeah.
building a new desk, it's downright cheap. Okay.
Not as cool,
That's
but cheap.
the update on my rig.
Yes. That'll
It's
be a
not
new,
as
that'll be a
cool, but-
that'll be a new segment on Talkin' Tech
It's just
with Jake and
weekly
Tim.
updates.
Weekly update on Tim's rig.
There probably won't be anything very fun next week, but the week after Black
Well,
Friday's gone past,
well,
we'll probably have
Black
some updates.
Friday. Well, Black Friday. You can just say like what you ordered. If
What I'm
we,
gonna
if
get?
we, yeah, if we.
Oh,
do
are we gonna do a
another-
Black Friday edition?
Maybe if people
Dude,
want.
we should
to.
live stream us just buying stuff.
Yeah.
online.
All right. Yeah. Type in the chat, like the video, leave a comment. Yeah. Say it. Tell us if you want us to live stream us buying stuff, showing you good deals.
I don't want to say too much because I think according to your master plan, one video is just going to be me telling you why I picked hardware. So there won't
Stay
be
tuned for that series.
too much stuff. Yeah, the series of my rig, which will be like Jake's rig if he did it minus the desk, and also after he
And I have
realized that
Intel.
Intel was not cooler.
And I have AMD. For my.
All right, we're gonna swap because I'm gonna go
Yeah.
Nvidia and AMD, and you went.
I
Intel
probably
and
should have
AMD.
gone.
Well, you wanted to Hackintosh. See, I
Yeah.
have no interest.
Which
in
there are
Hackintoshing.
fixes for. I think there are fixes for that I could have done. But I just wanted to, like, I had stuff working, like my files correct. Because I'm a Final Cut user, so I need to have my Mac.
See, I don't edit any of these, so I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah,
sort of
I
thing.
do. So.
And if I was gonna start editing stuff, I would not use Mac because it's just too. I would be sacrificing too much. I'm a gamer at
I don't know.
heart, so I can't game on Mac.
Well,
Don't
yeah,
game
I
on
could
Mac.
have also just done a virtual machine.
If
but
your
I didn't
shtick is
feel
gonna
like-
be plugging your merch, then my shtick is gonna be don't game on Mac because don't game on.
Oh
Mac.
yeah,
It's
don't
just
make.
worse.
Yeah, that definitely do not game on that. Although you can play League of Legends.
Oh yeah, like I
As
said
shown
in
at the keynote.
like I said during that live stream for the keynote, you could run League of Legends on. A
Yeah, I
potato.
know.
Like it runs on anything.
Dude.
We can run League of Legends.
You
in
can
great
even
quality.
run League of Legends on the new iPhone.
Yeah,
Yes, you
you
can run
coulda-
League of Legends on anything.
You could have run that on like a first edition Mac, like the
Yeah.
old ones, the big boxy Macs. You could run League of Legends on one of those.
Yeah.
You could run it on a Commodore 64. It runs on anything. All right, that's all I have to say. Do you want to get to the start of the show? It'll take me easily 20 minutes to talk about this. So.
Alrighty.
M1 Max. It is so confusing. We were talking about this just before we started the podcast. Really, I was talking about this, and Jake was like, "Please stop. There's a reason we're recording this." And I was like, "Too bad. You wanted me on here 15 minutes early. I'm gonna start talking." It is. There's like so much contradict. I mean, it's not directly contradicting, but it's really confusing. So I'll give you my breakdown on what reviewers are saying about the M1 Max. I think there's two super valid points. On one hand, you have Linus from LTT, who's saying Apple didn't put any numbers on their graphs. That is a hallmark of a company not being confident in their product. They are not. They're scared to show us real world benchmarks. ARM chips don't often work very well in true heavy duty CPU tasks, and I think those are all really valid criticisms. On the other hand, you have the MKBHD guys who have actually received reviewers units. Sorry, Linus, I know your QuickBit thing came out. Or what's
QuickBit
the
thing?
tech? No. It
Short
was
circuit?
Short circuit. Thank you. I know your short circuit thing came out, but that was the first impressions. Not
Yeah, that
not
wasn't
an
even
actual
benchmarks.
review.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Anthony's review.
MKBHD came out and he said, "I basically have used this 4 days straight and never plugged it in.
I've been using
Awesome
it for
battery
a few
life."
weeks now.
And I think the biggest thing that MKBHD pointed out that I hadn't really given any thought, that I think is a super valid point, and I think people, I don't want to say this because I think Apple people are going to take it and run away and just use this as a scenario for like every time they launch something and don't like giving real world data for it.
Yeah.
A lot of times Apple's actual hardware is underpowered. If you look at like
Yeah,
Like,
the
a great
amount
example
of,
is up
the amount
until
of RAM on
the amount of RAM.
iPhone.
I'd say the best example is like up until recently with the new A14 Bionic and A14 whatever the one before that was chips.
A13.
Their actual CPUs. No, there was A14 Bionic and then there was like A14 Eco or something. Like there was another version of it.
Z, X.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point
Y,
is,
A,
up until
B,
recently,
C.
their CPUs have actually been underpowered compared to Snapdragon competitors. But it never really felt that way. And the reason MKBHD brought up, and I think he's right when he says this, is that Apple makes up for that because they have an entire ecosystem. They're making their actual chips, and they have their own software, and many of their supported apps are coded in-house, or at least very closely related to the Apple teams.
Yeah.
They can optimize their hardware to the point where it feels like it's overpowered. So basically the hardware itself is underpowered, but because it can communicate so well with the applications and the operating services it's running on, it makes up for it in that communication where it doesn't have to get bogged down by making sure everything will run on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really valid point. I think if you're somebody, so here's where I get super frustrated with Apple in a lot of their launches, especially this one. Apple, you have to realize, yeah, there are a lot of professionals who use your stuff. Everybody loves. You want to know why everybody loves iOS and Mac OS, whatever the new one is, Big Sur. Well, I can't speak to Big Sur. What was that?
I don't really
Mac
like
OS
Big Sur.
High Sierra.
Catalina.
Whatever the one before that was, Catalina, whatever.
I really like
Everyone
Catalina.
loves Mac OS because it's so user friendly. It's so intuitive.
Yeah.
You could know nothing about computers and pick up a MacBook and figure it out in like an hour.
Yeah.
And Windows, I'm going to argue you can't really do that. It's going to take you the learning curve is much steeper with Windows. And
It's definitely gotten
and
better
Android.
It's definitely gotten better like
it's
over
gotten
the
better.
years. But
Apple still
a little
in my
behind.
eyes, has a very, very clear advantage in that.
Yeah.
And even now, a lot of schools use Mac machines. So now kids are growing up knowing the Mac softwares, and so now they're used to it. So they have this sort of ingrained knowledge of their products. And so I don't know why they don't go after the market share who aren't professionals, the grandmas, the parents who want to open Facebook and send emails to their kids and maybe run a spreadsheet or two at something with it doesn't have to be high powered. It doesn't have to be capable of doing a whole lot. It just has to have great battery life, a really easy user interface, and it's got to have a reasonable price point. And
Yeah.
especially with ARM chips that already have the battery life and already have.
I was just gonna say that's the only thing they're
already-
missing is the price at this point, like on
So
the
here's
ARM chips.
here's what
like
I don't
for the
understand,
MacBook Air.
is that everything I've read says that ARM chips are cheaper to manufacture.
Yeah.
And in some ways, they did pass on that savings. The Mac Mini this year is super reasonably priced.
Yeah,
But they need that in a mobile format. So they need that to move to a MacBook.
So the
they
MacBook
can
Air
drop
should be like
the MacBook Air
$600.
I say anything sub 650, maybe 700, because that's what like a used MacBook Air goes for now. If they
Yeah.
can drop it to that, you're going to get a massive market share of people saying new hardware does exactly. I mean, it's essentially the Chromebook philosophy, but with an OS that's actually usable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially the philosophy. It's just got to run on a browser,
And
it's
it
gotta
can
have great
last,
battery life.
and it can last that, like Marquez said,
And it
like
can-
last 4, almost 5 days.
So yeah, and it's got to be able to last 4 or 5 days. And here's the last piece, and here's the only reason I think that Apple might have skipped out this generation. And every reviewer, MKBHD, LTT, I mean everybody who's reviews it has brought this up. This is essentially a paid beta testing. They're probably not going to support this for as long as many of their other
probably like 2 or 3
products
years,
they do.
like they did with the original.
So that's the
iPad.
only thing I can think of, is that if you get that market share to pick it up now, and then in 2 years you say, "Psych, you got to buy a new one," they're going to be mad and they might not want to buy a new one, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
So I think they might be waiting and trying to waiting for their ecosystem to mature so that they can support it for longer.
I still
hold
feel
on to
like
that
they
market share.
will end up supporting this for years to come, just because they still have to. They still are saying that they're going to support Intel for the next couple of years. So I do feel like that they will support this for maybe not as long as they did previous Macs. Like I know some of the old iMacs. I feel like they could support this for like 5, maybe 6 years.
I think it's probably going to be like the way they do the iPhones. Like, yeah, they're going to keep supporting it, but like features will taper off as the hardware isn't able to support them.
But I don't think.
And I think that
I know,
grade is going to go a lot steeper.
I know that
than-
Linus
than,
and I don't know if Marquez said it. I know that Linus said that he thinks that in like 2 years they're just gonna like stop supporting it and be like done with it. I don't feel like they're gonna do that. I know they used to do that. I honestly don't think that they will do that anymore.
I'm reserving judgment. I
think
have an
it'll be a
opinion
little
either
bit
way.
longer, but it won't be the same as what they do now.
I think there are very easy examples to point to on either side. I think his example with the Apple Watch Series 0 is very valid, and I think
that's true.
a lot of the newer prototype and AirPods, you could have made that argument when AirPods first came out. You could have said, "Oh, the Bluetooth support is gonna get dropped in a couple, or like it's gonna start slowing down in a couple years because they're gonna want to come out with better versions of it, essentially." And I think obviously they've held on to AirPods and they're great, they're awesome. So I think there's good examples you can point to on either side, and so for that reason, I'm not gonna make a judgment. If I had to pick a side, besides me just wanting to reel you in, because I think sometimes you do have unreasonable expectations when it comes to Apple. If I had to pick a side on this, I would probably go with they're gonna support it. Just because I don't see them coming out with any radically new processors, and so that means they're gonna have to support the whole essentially ARM lineup that they come out with. And so they probably won't want to support it for that long, but I think it's sort of gonna be an unfortunate side effect of them coming out with a new technology that they're. It's a lot easier to drop a wearable than it is to drop an
like
entire
a full
laptop.
that
series.
people use.
So
I don't
would say
think
they're
they'll support like the
probably
like a
gonna-
lot of the iPhones and iPads or Macs are supported for like like 8 years. Maybe not the iPhone, but I know a lot of the Macs were supported for like 8 years.
Oh, it's not gonna be that long. I would say.
I think it's gonna be 4, 5, or 6 years would be my guess.
I'm gonna go
range.
with 3 or 4. I think they're gonna go 3 or 4 years, and then they're gonna release a new ARM chip, and they're gonna say, "All right, this is it." This is the
Oh
new
no,
ARM chip,
I
this
think
is the
they're
better
gonna
one.
no, I think they're gonna release a new ARM chip within the next year. I just think
No.
that they're gonna stop.
Not within the next year.
I don't know. I think
At least
they
not
are.
one directly comparable to their previous one. So the only
I don't
ARM chip
know.
they might come out with in the next year is one that they're gonna pretend can compete with like true desktop chips, and
like
they'll throw it in an
Threadripper.
iMac.
Yeah.
No, it's never gonna. They're never gonna try and compare it to a Threadripper or a Xeon, but they're gonna try and throw it in an iMac and compare it to like an i5 essentially, like a desktop chip. That's the only other ARM chip I see them coming out with is like an iMac version.
That and Mac Pro maybe at some point.
They're not coming out with a Mac Pro in the next year. No,
No, not in the next year. In the next, I think in the next couple of years they'll come out with.
they're
a
not
Mac
coming
Pro.
out with it in the next 3 years.
I don't know.
It's gonna take them. ARM has a long way to go before it can compete with Xeon processors. It's got a
Yes.
long, long way. So unless they decide to only use the ARM process for their thin and lights,
Yeah.
and
Which
they
I-
decide to make an entirely new process based on, I don't know, probably a 7 nanometer is probably the where they'd probably start, and try and compete those with the
They
Xeons.
could. That'd actually be a pretty smart idea.
No.
They could do that.
No, that would be dumb.
I don't
There's
know.
no way they're gonna. Yeah, no.
You don't know what they're cooking up.
You're right, I don't. I hope they're not, because I bet they surprised me with the ARM stuff. I have a very, very, very hard time believing that the whatever CPU they're gonna come out with is really gonna shake it up enough to make it competitive with Xeon processors, which are what are running in the Mac Pros. So
Yeah.
I mean, Xeon chips they're essentially server chips.
Yeah.
They're high core count, high thread count, low clock speed processors. Great for video rendering, video encoding, like real. I mean, they picked the right CPU for a Mac Pro, a machine that actually is trying to get work done. They picked the right CPU for that. I mean, they should have gone Threadripper, which is better than the Xeon in almost every way. But other than that,
Yeah, I still find it weird that they had AMD GPUs but Intel CPUs. I don't know if maybe they
yeah,
had
I
a.
don't get what that is.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but I don't know. I still find it
if
on
you're-
on the topic of the Mac Pro. I've been like looking on like eBay and like Facebook Marketplace and stuff, and the Mac Pros are still going for like a decent amount of money from like 2008 and stuff, which is like.
I thought you were gonna
pretty
say the
crazy.
recent ones, and I'm like, of course they're going for a decent amount of
No,
money. They're
no,
still
no.
brand new machines practically.
No. The Mac Pro from 2013, the trash can, those are going for at least $1,200 at like the lowest price, and then ones from like 2008 are going for like $200 like minimum.
I can't tell you why. The only reason I could think of them holding their value that well. So here's the argument, and I'm going to immediately disprove it. It's just going to be me talking to myself.
Yeah.
A
You don't even need
true
me.
workstation, like a real one, like the new Mac Pros or like a real server, it's almost like a car. It's there to get work
Except
done.
it doesn't drive.
It's there to make you money. And so something like that in general won't depreciate as much as something consumer or like enthusiast grade, because those are built to last. Essentially, they're built so that you don't have to upgrade every year like a consumer piece of hardware would. Because for a business that's not practical, not on a cost basis, they could eat that cost, but just on getting everybody in and replacing every machine every year is not feasible. You just have rotating swaps. So it's almost like a car in that it's essentially future proofing. You're trying to get the features for the next 2 or 3 years into it so that it will last you 6 or 7, and then you're going to upgrade. And so that's the only reason I could see them holding their value as well as it is. Now the issue is,
wait for it. Here we go.
A lot of the older Mac Pros, especially trash can Macs, they're not real. They weren't there to get work done. They were there as an alternative to an iMac if you already happen to have an old monitor.
Yeah, so some of the old Mac, like the 2010 ones, 9, 10, and 12, those ones, you can do stuff.
It depended on the SKU.
You can there's a patcher so you can get like Catalina on them, and then you can also put in like an RX 580, like an AMD RX 580, as well as some other GPUs so that you can actually like edit for like one of my friends has one, and he put like an RX 580, and I think did he put in a Xeon? I don't remember. He may have put in a Xeon, but he can edit like 4K video like with not a lot of drop like frames. Like it's pretty good. And his is from like 2009.
Yeah. I don't know. Most computers won't hold their value that well. I feel like the 2009 ones are almost like a commodity. Like they're almost like a collector's piece at this point. Because people viewed it as like, oh, the last time Apple made a good Mac Pro, essentially.
I mean, the one that they have now is like pretty good.
The one they have now is pretty good. I think LTT's video, I keep quoting LTT, but they make good stuff. I think LTT's video, they've made several on it, basically hit the nail on the head. They're like, it's a good workstation if you happen to rely on Mac software. It's perfect for you. If you're a professional who also happens to use,
Final Cut,
it's awesome for you. If you're
Marquez Brownlee.
If you're Marquez Brownlee, it's perfect for you.
Or iJustine.
Other than that, you can get equivalent stuff for Windows for cheaper.
Yeah.
And you can specialize it more to what you actually need it. So, for the use case they were sort of aiming for, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like that they were aiming for that market share and they nailed it. And the Mac Pro itself is great. The build quality is awesome. The part selection, though insanely priced, like it's at least the right stuff. Like there didn't really strike me to be any hardware selection that I was
the base
what?
model though, it comes with an RX 580. Or 580X or whatever.
Apple price.
Yeah, I know. I just still find it ridiculous. Yeah, and like these new Macs, I think, what do they come with? 128 gigabytes of storage, or is it 256?
I have no idea. The new Macs?
Yeah, like the M1 ones.
Oh, way less than that.
What?
No, it's 8 gigabytes of.
No,
Are you talking about RAM or?
No, I'm talking about
memory?
storage.
I think it's 256.
They may have upped it to 256. It used to be 128.
I think they did 256.
Or is that just on the Pro? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it's 256.
Yeah. All right, good, because the iPhone now has 128.
Sorry, I was confused because we went from the iMac Pro, which can theoretically support up to like a terabit and a half of RAM.
Yeah.
So,
no, RAM is 8 and 16. You can choose
it's 8 and
either.
16, which is fine unless you're.
Well, and especially since they've optimized it so well. Shouldn't be a huge
8 and
deal.
16 gigs will be perfully fine unless you're doing like video editing. And if you're doing video editing, then why are you doing it on a MacBook
or you have
or a MacBook Pro?
That
just do it on something that's actually capable of it.
Or you do the what was it, the Jonathan Morrison thing where you open up like thousands of Chrome tabs. Did you see that video? It was like at 1.5 terabytes on my Mac Pro opening up Chrome tabs.
Yeah, LTT did something similar, but they did it with 2 terabytes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I still have to do my video installing Chrome OS on my desk PC.
Oh my god, why would you do it? Why would you disrespect a machine like that? Chrome OS is the worst. I hate it. It has no place in it. I keep getting Chromebook ads, and I'm like, drop it.
Yeah.
I know I own one of your machines, but it's not by choice. It's because
Yeah.
the school said you get a Chromebook, and I was like,
Yeah.
fine. I don't feel like paying for a new laptop,
Yeah.
so I'll take it. But
We
it's
should just put our
garbage.
desktops on carts and wheel them around school.
Dude, I made that joke earlier. I was
Buy
in
a
school.
buy a
I was in school with a
UPS.
bunch of my friends, and one of my friends has the new the iPad. What is it? The iPad Pro, the one with the keyboard.
Oh yeah. The
She-
iPad
so she
Pro,
had that.
Magic Keyboard.
Yeah, so she had that, and she was like, "Oh, it's awesome," and I was like, "I'm very jealous." And then she was like, "Well, I had like another old computer, and I was using that, and then I got this, and I like updated it," and I was like, "Yeah, well," she's like, "Oh, you don't have a like," it was something along the lines of like, "Oh, don't you have something better at home? Like you can't be doing all your schoolwork on that." I was like, "Yeah, I have a PC," and she was just like, "Well, why don't you bring that?" Thinking it was like a laptop. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Let me just schlep my so that
Yeah.
I like outlined it. With
You have
my
to buy
hands.
a
I was like,
UPS.
I was like, this is my PC case, and I'll just stack my monitor on top
Yeah, exactly.
and wheel it
There you
around.
go.
Do you think they'll notice?
That'd be a good video. Trying to bring my my PC
That would be a
into school.
dumb video. I will
That'd
not
be so
participate in
funny.
that video.
That'd be so funny. I'm trying to bring
Oh.
my PC into class.
I would not.
You'd have to buy like
participate.
a UPS and then like a Wi-Fi adapter.
I'm just sitting there in English class, like gaming.
Yeah.
I got like my keyboard tilted and everything. Like,
No,
she's
and then
like,
you
"Are
gotta
reading
get
our
one of those-
novel?" I'm like,
the
reading our
Samsung-
novel?
Yeah.
My KD ratio is like 5.0, dude. Get off my.
Get on my level. No, and then you got to get one of those like Samsung Odyssey monitors, the 49 inch curved like 1U.
It takes up like 3 desks. It's like,
Yeah.
good thing we're social distancing, because otherwise I'd be smacking my neighbors right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great.
Perfect.
I will not be participating in this video.
Maybe. We'll
Sorry.
see.
Nope.
I'll just show up to school one day with your PC.
Dude, did you break into my house?
Yeah, I'll be like, here you go. You
The
forgot
real
this
question
at you
is-
forgot
is-
this at home.
The real question is, this is going to be new PC or old PC?
What? Yours?
The one you break into my house to bring to
Oh,
school.
both.
Because you got to be careful. I mean, if I don't bleed my loop correctly, you might get a air bubble in my pump, and then I'll be really mad at you.
Oh, that'd be terrible. Worst part of the day.
Oh
You-
no.
You get
That'd be
suspended.
terrible.
You get like mad that you like got suspended. You're like, no, but there's an air bubble in my loop, and you like only flip out at that. Worst part of the day, right there.
Fail a math test, but I almost break my PC.
Yeah, when you get that one air bubble. Oh, there was something I forget where I watched it. Was it Steve from Tech Jesus? Was it him? It's like if you flip the rad up, like you have the tubes on top or something. It's like better than having them on the bottom or something like that for your AIO. There was something. Maybe
probably
it's
because
the
it has
other
to
way.
do with
Yeah,
like,
like less
how
air
quickly the
bubbles.
liquid flows and where the air
Yeah.
bubbles are and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all. I mean, if you want to know anything about cooling, just go to Tech Jesus. He's got you covered. But
Liquid
most of
nitrogen.
that stuff is like elite overclocking. Like your average
Yeah, yeah.
person. With
Well,
an
yeah, he
AIO,
did, like,
even
liquid
you
nitrogen.
wouldn't notice the difference probably because you I mean you're not pushing your 10900K that hard.
I don't know. This stream's taking a lot of it. Let's see. What am I at right now? Intel Power Gadget. I am at an average of 4.9 gigahertz right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I am at.
I think my
3.5
Hackintosh-
gigahertz.
My Hackintosh just may not be. Wait, you're at 3.5?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah, mine's at like.
Well, I
yeah.
have like 10. Not 10. I have like 50 Chrome tabs.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say 10's not a lot.
So I have school. I have like schoolwork, the stuff for this stream, like stuff I'm shopping for. I got like 50 Amazon and Newegg tags up.
Yeah.
tabs open, like. So actually, Google Chrome is taking like more than it's like almost 5x what everything else in my system. So I have like Discord and like I have like a bunch of background programs open, and Google Chrome is like almost 5x CPU and memory usage of all of the rest combined.
Yeah, mine's probably Chrome and this, and I don't
Chrome
think
is-
Spotify's taken anything.
Chrome is great, but man, they gotta get
Yeah, I'm at like
they gotta get their
4.9, almost 5 now.
control stuff under control.
Yeah. But yeah, no, these M1 Macs though, I don't know. If I had the money, I don't know. The Mac Mini just seems like if I didn't have my desk PC, like I would definitely buy one of those. That just seems like it would be great for being able to do remote learning, and then also being able to like video edit for like a class. I feel like that would be like a pretty good
Yeah,
good deal
I mean
right there.
it's probably perfect.
Yeah.
Mac Mini, it's
Other than the
great-
IO, some of the
Great
IO.
price. Some of
No
the
10,
IO,
no
but
10, no 10 gig. I was a little.
but who needs 10 gig in this world? If you're paying what is it, like $600 for a Mac Mini? If you're paying $600 for a for a 700, if you're paying $700 for a computer, you probably don't happen to have 10 gig Ethernet.
Yeah,
access.
that's true. Well,
So,
and if you did, you
two and a
can
half.
just,
What is it?
and
Two and a
if-
half or 5 gig or something? It's probably fine.
No, it's 1.
Oh, it's 1 gig. That's probably fine too. Like
No, but what you could. Well, yeah, I was thinking because Linus, that he said he uses them for his ingest servers or to ingest footage. But I was thinking in my head like the entire time when he was complaining about that, just
Most people
buy
aren't
just
gonna
buy
be
a
ingesting
just buy a
footage.
Thunderbolt 3 to 10 gig adapter to plug into the back of the Mac Mini.
those things are like $200. You know that, right?
Are you really?
Thunderbolt 3 to 10 gig.
I can't. No, because you can buy PCIe ones that are like not that expensive.
Thunderbolt 3 to 10 gig. I think the nice ones are like $150. Like the ones that actually do what they're advertised.
Let's see.
As of like a year ago, I think that's what I
Here's
saw.
some. So here's one on Amazon. Yeah, this one's like $150. There's
Yeah.
some for 200. So
Yeah.
they're not like ridiculous, and like if you have to buy like one, maybe two, like yeah, I mean it's not a ton of money. That's if you need 10 gig. So
My argument is
most
just-
people don't.
Yeah, my argument is that's a really minor use case. Apple's
Yeah,
not going
but
to
it-
look
but
out
they
for the
didn't-
people who are using it as a secondary.
So I'm not
PC to-
complaining about that they didn't add it to the base model, but the fact that they didn't give you that option to do it just a little bit bothers me. But
Yeah, it kind of stinks that they did it on the previous models and didn't
yeah,
continue it through.
that was
It's
yeah.
just kind of weird, but I don't think they're gonna be losing any market share money.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm not
agreed.
even particularly mad at them for it. I mean, it's not important to almost everybody who's gonna be buying that machine that they have 10 gig Ethernet. Most of them won't be able to take advantage of it, and those of them who can probably aren't in the market for it. Like I don't see those two groups overlapping all that much. People who want to buy Mac Minis and people who need and can take advantage of 10 gig Ethernet.
But what's Linus gonna do?
I don't know. He owns an entire company. He's worth like
Yeah,
$2 million. Just go buy another PC.
Yeah. I think the app he needs is on Mac, but yeah.
Whatever. Go buy an iMac. Those things still, I mean, it doesn't. I know he's mad. I mean, for him, if I was him, I'd be frustrated too. But if I'm him,
Yeah,
you also
yeah.
have to realize that my use case is very much in the minority.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Apple's not
for
going to
sure.
cater to everybody's every need.
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
Especially not him.
I mean, no company will, especially not Apple. But no company is going to do that because that's unattainable. You can't take care of every possible need everybody is going to have. That's just not possible. So
Do you know what can take care of all your needs?
last one.
ttpmerch.com.
It's the last time.
Make sure to pick up some merch. You can get the last of it. It's going to be gone in a couple weeks, so make sure you pick up the first edition Jake Brown merch, and we got new designs coming soon, so stay tuned for those. That's pretty much it about the Mac. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I mean, I got a bunch of video game stuff, but I know you don't care about that.
Yeah, not.
We'll save it for another week when we
Yeah.
have less to talk about.
Yeah. I think that was pretty
Yeah.
much it.
We're good. It's an hour.
Yeah.
That's the goal for these. Is we're gonna shoot for about an hour.
An hour, yeah.
If we go over, fine. If we go under, too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that. All right. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in to Talkin' Tech with Jake and Tim. Make sure to subscribe to the channel at youtube.com/techprofessor. You can also check out our merch at ttpmerch.com and the forum at thetechprofessor.net. And then also, this is a podcast which will also be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that you listen. You can check it out at anchor.fm/talkintech. So I'm Jake, and that's Tim. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.